Hello and welcome into my studio. Today we're going to paint this really easy butterfly flower painting. So I hope you got your paintbrushes and your paints and paint along. All right, so the first brush we're going to use is going to be that 1-inch flat brush. I'm going to go ahead and get it wet. Make sure you also have your 1/2-inch flat brush and the small round brush ready to go. We have our primary colors plus black and white. And I'm using the Liquitex Basics brand, but you could use other brands. Just make sure they're the primary colors. It will usually say that on there. If not, it will look a little different, but it'll still work. So no worries. I'm gonna get that nice and wet. And then I'm just gonna do some cross strokes for the background today. So just little X strokes. And we're gonna make a soft peach background. So we're gonna take white, a bit of red, and a bit of yellow. And that's going to give you a peachy color. I want it to be a little on the pinkish side, but I really want it really light, so I'm using a lot of white. And then I'm just going to come in there and get that in. I usually like to make colors a little darker in some spots, like maybe I'll have a little more red in like the upper right corner or something like that. So fun. And then maybe you have a little more yellow, like in some spots. Let's see how you could just add a pop of color there. Really easy. We're just working with the red, yellow, and white. And then again, more white can look fun. And then maybe towards the bottom, I want it to look a little more earthy. Like maybe even adding a little more red and a spot of blue. So this will start taking it into more of a, make sure you have enough red in there. See how fast the blue just turns it into green. I want it to be more of an earthy, it's okay if it has a green tint, but I want it to look earthy, like almost like an army green or an olive green is good. But try not to go way too bright, because then it won't look earthy. And then we're gonna go at the bottom with this. And then again, you can always come back into those peach shades to soften that into the background. I just want that towards the bottom, but I really don't want it to be too loud. I still want light colors, so, you know, mixing the white in or adding a little extra yellow in some spots, just to make it not feel overpowering. It's really earthy. It's so playful and soft. I can take a little more yellow, white, and then notice I can put that towards the transition between the peach and the more earthy olive colors. So it's really gonna soften the transition there, which I love. Now, once I have all that in, I'm gonna switch to my medium brush, and I want just an orange flower. So we're gonna make an orange flower, and it's gonna be orange. So I'm gonna start with red and a touch of yellow. So it's very similar to the background color. So, and I want to find the center of the canvas. So right in the middle right here is where I want to build my flower out of. So make sure you find the middle. And then what we're going to do is build it from there. And I want it just maybe on a slight tilt, but I want the petals to just be going out to the sides and then down in the bottom. And they can be kind of curved if you want. I'm going to make them kind of loose though. I want it to look a little bit abstract. And I want to make sure that the petals that come down are a little longer than the ones that go to the sides. So since I kind of started long up here, I'm having to go pretty big at the bottom. That's okay. Just make sure they look a little bigger here because it's going to be closer to you. And then this is the center of the flower. We're going to put a different color in the middle, a little more yellowish. So what I'm going to do is just take more yellow into my orange mix. So we're just using red and yellow. My first color has more red. my second color is mostly yellow. So it's just like the flip side, the reverse. And that's going to go right in the middle, and it might pop out just a bit. Like so. And I'm just dabbing the corner of the brush to give it a little bit of texture. But it should look different. And again, we're going to layer, so it'll get there. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is shape the butterfly. And then we'll add some foliage down below. Or actually, let's do the foliage first. It's still pretty wet. And if it doesn't dry fast enough, we can always just hit it with that blow dryer, like I usually do. Now we're going to create maybe some just fun foliage that comes down here, maybe some other little flowers or something, but maybe very subtle, because we want this to be the focus of the painting. So that's why we make it bigger and just taking up center stage, literally. So for our other, the stuff that we can do down here is we're just going to make different shades of green. So I'm going to add it to my earthy shade, but I'm going to go in with something that looks a little more classic, more of just a pretty even mix of yellow and blue. And then I can go ahead and make a stem. It's coming like loosely down like this. And then maybe I have some leaves, like so. And then maybe I have some other little leaves. And then maybe I add more yellow and pull another little leaf. These could just be some random ones or something. You can really be playful here and kind of abstract. I love doing this. It's just a fun way to work because you're not really, making too much of a big deal out of it. Notice how I could add some white and more yellow, and then we get even brighter. We could really just play with adding that color. And it almost acts as a texture rather than like a focal element. So you're adding it, but it's not completely taking your eyes off that orange. It's just adding more interesting texture down below to make it feel more garden-like. Like, oh, this flower has a little home, and that home has a life and a character. Pretty colors. Now again, more yellow and white is just going to take you even further into those light shades. So it could be really fun to layer some of that down here. Really fun. And I might add more with some, maybe some different sizes, smaller brushes, etc. But I don't want to get too crazy. This is pretty dry up here, so I'm going to clean my brush. I'm going to add our butterfly, and I want the butterfly to be blue. So I'm cleaning the brush. We're going into blue. Blue. I'm going to add a little bit of red. And then, so blue with a little bit of red just makes your blue darker, especially if you're working with those primaries. And we're going to have the butterfly coming this way. So I want to put it on top of the center. And just make a little diagonal line there. Then we're going to pull up, maybe just slightly in, and then do another line just like that. So I did one, and now I'm doing another. Then you're going to loop it back down towards that line. Then we'll do another. And we'll color it in. And so now we have the shape of the butterfly. And I like that. Maybe I take that color down here and add just some little foliage with that butterfly color. Now, I do this because what it does is just bringing that color to another space on the canvas, like that color's up top. If I add a little bit of it down below, it creates this feeling of balance in the painting. So I like to do it. It's not like you have to, but sometimes I'll just, even if the color doesn't really match the bottom, I don't really care. I'm more just thinking about taking the element of that color and bringing it down to create balance with that color. So that's my primary objective for that. Now I'm going to take the small round brush, and let's just keep going with that red and blue. Maybe add a little more red to make it a little darker if it's not that dark. And I'm going to finish maybe add a little more detail to that little line, add a little circle to the top of it, and add some little antennae for a butterfly head, and some more details. And then you can even add some of that darker shade and pull it out at the base of the wings and just feather it out a little bit. Now again, this color can kind of pull into the bottom. Maybe I pull some little squiggly brush strokes like that. And just add some interest and spread that color around. Maybe there's some like little creeping. No, I don't know. You just got to do it. Feels good here. When I'm teaching, a lot of times people ask for permission to do something, and I'm just like, yeah, of course you can do it. You don't even need to ask permission. There are some people who execute something. It's not so much that the idea was bad, it was just the way they tried to execute it that technically is probably not the best way to approach it. So there are things, like I always tell people, there's really no wrong and right in art. There are things, technical things about making art that will make your ideas either sink or swim sometimes. So see how I can add, I'm just using that blue. It's like almost like a purple. It's like a dark blue. Add some almost like outlines to the leaves and just playing. You want to have a lot of contrast in your paintings. That means the dance between the light and the dark. I'm like wiggling the brush a little bit to make it feel kind of really organic, like roots or something. I don't know. That's just what I'm feeling today. It just feels fun to do it. So I always invite people. It's like, just do it. It's fun. It doesn't always have to be, make any sense to anybody but you. Now I can take that small brush, nice and clean, add some more orange to your brush. So I'm using mostly red with a bit of yellow to create pretty fiery orange. And I'm going to go to the base of the flower and just wisp out from the center point to the tips. Maybe even outline them just a little bit with that darker shade of orange. So see how I can go to the bottom side of the petals. I can take some of that and dabble it at the base of the center. You just want to get some contrast on there, give it a little more oomph. And then I can add more yellow and white, a little bit of white to make a lighter shade of orange. So I just want a couple different shades. So I have my base color. Now I'm just adding some lighter shades. Now the lighter shades usually fall at the tips. And then you can add some almost pure white to your brush and just do a little bit towards the tips. And I can do that at the tip of the center point. The flower center. Just a little bit of dabs. We'll add even a little more contrast to it. But for now, this is good. Now I'm going to add more details to the butterfly. I'm going to go into using a little bit of black paint to create some outlines on the wings, but before I make the wings darker, I'm going to make some lighter portions to it. So with a clean, dry brush, add some bright blue to it. So I'm using just blue and white. And I'm going to the tips of the wings and I'm pulling reverse. And I really want that front wing to stand out. So leave that back wing with no light blue. So we're not highlighting that at all. Leave that back wing nice and dark. And we're just brightening up the front part of the butterfly. And you can even highlight the top of the body a little bit, or the antennae with that light blue. So a little bit of highlighting is good. You can take that light blue and use it as a highlight color down in the garden. You can even do little clusters of some blue dots. So see how I can take that light blue and then make some little clusters. little dots, clusters. I like doing this in a garden because it could just be like a tiny little flower. I see these all the time. I was actually walking around the other day and I saw these little tiny like blue flowers growing out of the grass at this park I was at. And I was like, oh, how cute. But they were really small and subtle. So if you weren't really looking, you might even go unnoticed. But see, those are the things that make a painting really look cool. I can even just take some pure white and highlight those. So just dab a little bit of pure white on top of those. Give it more than just one shade. But this is why I love painting, because if you're trying to recreate something, or just even creating something in general, you have to take a little bit of a closer look at things. Maybe just a little more light blue on the wings, so that you get some different shades, right? Now let's take our black, clean the brush, come into the black, and let's outline our wing. Maybe just a little bit to the back part, but super soft. And then I want the edge of the wing to be a thicker outline. Same at the bottom, but just on the edge. And then you can even add some little black wiggles coming out from the body of the butterfly into the wingspan. Like little veins, little wiggly brush strokes that pull to the edge of the wing. It can be really subtle. You don't have to do all these things. Now I'm going to create an even darker shadow color for the flower, which is going to be black with a lot of red. So, and I'm not even really adding more black to my brush, I'm just adding a bunch of red to it. It's going to be a really earthy color. I'm going to tap it right at the base of the bottom of the center of the flower. Sort of tap it like little, this is called stippling. You just tap at the base of something like that. If it's not getting dark enough, just add a little more black to it. So make sure it gets darkish. And then pull just a little bit out from there, little wisps. And you can even take that color and like gently outline the flower if you want. I kind of like doing that. It just adds some fun contrast. And again, it's a painting, so you can really do whatever you want, and that's what I love about it. So you want to make sure, I like to get some division between the petals so that you know, like, this is one petal, this is another petal. It doesn't get too mushed up there, like the flower has maintained its shape. And I'm going to clean the brush. We'll add some highlights and then we're going to let it go because, you know, I like to show people how fun it is to make something that's so simple. It doesn't have to be this crazy commitment. So again, you should have a decent amount of foliage, scattering that blue around, really emphasizing the orange flower here and making sure we're getting a lot of contrast. I'm going to add some white. Make sure your brush is clean and dry. And we're going to use just white. And I'm going to do some dots on the tips of the wings. Only in that thick black part. So the part that you made really thick, That's the best spot to put those highlights. And then you can also highlight a little bit more in the center of the flower. You can add some more highlights to the wings, like inside, in between the little black parts or whatever, just to make it more shiny. You can add some more highlights to the leaves with some white, or the flower, however you want to do it. You can also pull in some colors like pink to make it look a little more fun. So sometimes I like to go, oh, okay, this is really heavy on like the orange and blue. You could keep it that way, that's fun. Or you can pull in some pink as almost a secondary highlight color. So I can go in and add little bits of pink to the flower. And I'm not covering everything that's there, I'm just adding to it. Maybe I add some little secret pink flowers, like we did with the blue, like little clusters of pink. And then this just scatters around another color, which is fun. You can even do some highlights on the wings with some pink. So maybe I'm going to see just little pops, little tiny little hints of that color in there just for fun. You know, that's what it's all for. So I always tell people, you know, choose your favorite colors. Let those colors have, you know, a little secret visitation into your painting so that you can really let them shine. And then if things need to be toned down or adjusted, you can always go in and do it. You can always go in and add more black to add more contrast, like on the flower here. Maybe I add a little bit more dark under. Maybe I even use a little black down below to like outline things, or just add some more wiggly lines for some more contrast. You can even add a little bit of black to the bottom of the butterfly. You can even put some like little lines coming out that look like little legs. Sometimes I just don't put legs on my butterflies, but sometimes I do. So you don't have to, but you can. And I'm like, what do I want to add anything else? Maybe you can just add a little bit more of those butterfly veins. Or clean up some of the lines just a little bit. Make things look a little more pronounced. I'm going to call it done. So I always invite you to tinker a bit, but then I also invite you to keep it simple and let it go. So sometimes what I notice a lot of people do is they have a hard time letting go or overworking it, and then the painting takes a turn for the worst, and then they get frustrated, and then they kind of give up and then feel really bad about the whole experience. So my philosophy is quit while you're ahead. It's kind of like gambling. Like if your money's up, just be like, okay, that was fun, I'm done. You know, that's how you know that you can walk away and just say that was a fun experience. I don't need to like take it and make it turn into a bad experience. So we can do that with anything, right? If we overdo it. So it's all about balance. It's all about getting in there, doing it, getting your hands dirty a little bit, and then going, okay, like I feel like I did something cool, and then let it go. So I invite you to let go. And again, thanks for watching. Thanks for painting along. So keywords, painting along with me. This is what I consider active entertainment. So you're not just passively walking, watching, consuming. You're creating with me so that your entertainment becomes more of a creative, engaged activity rather than just a passive consuming activity. So I really, really believe in that philosophy that we should be creating more than we consume, which is why I really enjoy creating content that invites you to participate in the creative process with me. So I hope you did. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to leave a comment. Let me know what other fun things you like to paint, because I can't wait to share some more fun ideas with you. And again, thanks for watching, and have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye.